I think a lot of the advice glorifying bootstrapping is meaningless, and if you have money available, it's a great tool. You should go ahead, take it, execute fast, build high quality stuff, and then take your ideas to its full potential, right? Hi, I'm Niraj. I'm the founder and CEO of Hiver. Welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. Today, I'll be talking about my journey from being an employee at a really large company to thinking of becoming a scientist to actually building a company with more than 1,000 customers globally. So I did my BTech in Electronics and Communications Engineering from IIT Kgp, and loved my time there. I was not an outstanding student by IT standards, but I was pretty decent. And then I got placed into this awesome company called Mentor Graphics, where I had 5 great years. I did a lot of deep technical stuff. I learned a lot. I had great peers and mentors, right? But at the end of my 4th year, approximately, there, I had a feeling that I could be doing a lot more. I could probably go a lot deeper in science, or I could look at areas where science and technology crosses into other domains like humanities or aesthetics or design, right? And that is where I felt that turning into an entrepreneur will help me work on so many other things, right, which a career in science or technology will not offer me, right? So for me, the motivation primarily came from being able to find an area of work where I can do a lot more than coding stuff, where I could actually build things which touched on design, on how humans interact with technology, etc., right? And that is, I think, what was my core driver for getting into entrepreneurship. It's very different from what most people are motivated by when they get into a business, but for me it was this, right? So I teamed up with a very good friend of mine who was also my batchmate at IIT Kgp and also my colleague at Mentor Graphics, right? And we left our jobs within a week of each other. We worked in the same company, right? And then we started our first product, trying to build back in 2007 something like Zomato, which would basically let you search for local outlets, local restaurants on the phone, right? And we were coming from a very different background. We were C++ coders, writing compilers for hardware description languages, moving into mobile and web. And at a time when entrepreneurship was extremely nascent in India, we did not hear about even $100,000s of investment into companies. We kind of lost steam. We could not really take it to where we initially wanted to take it to. And we, I think, spent 8 or 9 months in that, but then we ran out of cash. And but then we started doing services. So we started building mobile and web apps for customers in the US. Facebook apps had just started coming up, and we picked that up very fast. And then we started building those for customers in the US, and that turned into a very profitable business. We scaled it up to close to 30 people in Noida. We had great customers in the Bay Area, in New York, in Europe, and we were making quite a bit of money, right? And Nitesh, who is my co-founder here, he joined me and Munish, my previous co-founder, right out of college, as our first employee, right? And he was virtually co-founder in my last business, right? So all 3 of us basically built that business to close to 30 people, good amount of revenues. But I did not really enjoy the process of doing a services business, because this entire cycle of hunting for customers, servicing, and then again going and hunting for another set of customers is extremely tedious, and was not as creative as I wanted what I do to be. And so Nitesh and I basically left that business, which was called Mobicules, to start our next company, which was called Grexit, right? And it was based on years of learning and experience that we had, right? So my experience at Mentor Graphics was that we were a team of 25 people spread across 3 continents, and we would have deep technical conversations on email, right? So someone would ask a question, someone else would answer it, right? And it would go on for a week, say, and an important useful conversation would get closed. And then 6 months down the line, a new person would ask the same question, right? And we would be hunting for the same conversation on email as to who has it, how do I solve this, right? And the insight that Nitesh and I had was that email is a problem, because email inboxes are silos. There is so much information that is stuck inside email inboxes, and they are not discoverable. So imagine a company of 1,000 people. There's so much information that is stuck and trapped in email inboxes. So how do you get it out? how do you make it discoverable, right? And that is where we started Grexit. That was the initial seed of the idea that led us to starting Grexit, right? And the word Grexit came from Grex plus it. Grex in Latin means flock or herd, and we are basically building a collaboration tool. So we thought we'll combine Grex with it and build a collaboration tool around it, right? And we really liked the name, and we launched the product, got some coverage, even we had some customers, right? But something completely unexpected happened. Greece was not doing very well. It was expected that, because of the default on their loans, they might actually exit the Eurozone, right? And some consultants in Citigroup decided to coin the term Grexit to talk about Greece exiting the Eurozone, right? And that is where Brexit comes from, right? Brexit is derived from Grexit, right? And that took us completely by surprise. The name that we were so fond of and had been using for at least a couple of years at that point of time had been completely hijacked. And we had a lot of people coming onto our website talking about, why do we have it named like that? Because it was a very touchy subject in Europe, right? Quads, I think, did an article about us being the most unfortunately named company in the world. And that is when we thought things have come to a pass and we need to go ahead and change the name, right? And yeah, so we named ourselves Hiver because it's derived from hive. Hives are about bees, and bees are really productive and really efficient and really structured and organized. And we thought Hiver is a great name, right? So the first version of the product that we did was really simple. You had a button in your Gmail account, and you press that button, and our product would extract that entire email conversation and put it into a repository, right? And that would become a knowledge base which you could then tag, organize, and access control. And that was awesome, very, very useful, right? And we went ahead and raised a small amount of money for that, right? So we raised around $175,000 from very good investors. So we had Citrix Startup Accelerator. The Citrix, the technology giant, right? They started an accelerator at that point of time, and we were the first company in India that they invested in. We also got some money from Vijay Shekhar Sharma of Paytm and some friends of mine, right? So we put together a small round and we started building it further, right? That was around six and a half years back. But then, we virtually bootstrapped the company to, crores of rupees of annual revenue. And then we went ahead and raised close to $4 million from Kalari Capital and K Capital last year, right? So it's very interesting to me, to consider how things would have panned out differently had we done things differently, right? So, we really enjoyed bootstrapping. We bootstrapped for close to 5 years, and we were a really small team. And and the decision to actually raise money came at a point when me and Nitesh started to feel really confident about our product. We felt that we really have hit upon this golden product market fit, and we actually have $1 billion market in front of us, which is there for the taking. And we went ahead and raised money. It was really seamless exercise to raise money. We had tons of offers, and it just happened, right? And for me, the thought experiment is, what if we try to raise money 5 years back, or say 4 years back, right? And how things have been different for us, right? Money is a great tool for you to move fast, right? So to give you a concrete example, right, the product market fit that happened around 18 months back was the result of a product that we could actually build around a couple of years back, right? Now the ideas to actually build those products lived in our heads for more than 4 years, right? But we could actually get around to executing it and building it to the quality that we wanted to build it to over a fairly large period of time, because we are a 5 to 6 people engineering team, right? So to look back, right, if we raised, say, a small amount of money, say $500,000, 4 years back, we could have actually hit this product market fit 2 years back, right? And we would have been on a much more accelerated path, right? So while bootstrapping is awesome, if you think that you have a great idea, you can execute it well, and if you have people who are ready to fund you, you should definitely go ahead and do it, right? And I think a lot of the advice glorifying bootstrapping is meaningless, and if you have money available, it's a great tool. You should go ahead, take it, execute fast, build high quality stuff, and then take your ideas to its full potential, right? So, everything that we did in the last 6 months, which basically is, raising a decent amount of money and hiring a great team, has been done because we think that there is a huge opportunity sitting right in front of us, right? and we are extremely product driven, right? We are not driven by getting something built and pushing it to thousands of people using aggressive sales methods, right? We really believe that the opportunity to make email better as a platform, as a business communication tool is huge, right? And the thesis is like this. Email is a tool that was built more than 30 years back, right? And it was built for very simple point-to-point communication, right, between probably a small set of people, right? But what we are doing right now in any business context is that we are using it as a collaboration tool, right? So to talk about a very simple scenario, right, and a very prevalent scenario, you are, say, a team of 10 people, right? And an email comes from outside that you want to delegate to someone in your team, right? So what do you do now? You basically forward that email to that person, right? So think of a dozen emails coming over a period of a day, and at the end of the day you have 12 emails flying to 10 different people. So you have absolutely no idea who is doing what needs to be done, and what requires your urgent pressing attention, right? And that's something that every email user does, and email was never built to do something fundamentally as simple as that, right? So that basically points us to the kind of opportunity that we have to make email a better business and communication tool, right? So at Hiver, that is what we are doing, right? We have more than 1,000 customers using us virtually every minute, but I really think that we have barely scraped the surface. The potential of making email stronger and better at what it does is huge, because we would essentially be making so many knowledge workers more efficient and more productive, right? And that is what I think drives everyone ahead. We actually put a lot of effort into communicating this vision and this idea to everyone in the company, in every team. So the key thing that I've learned about startup hiring in general is that generally you have to be looking for people who are better than you in some way, right? So they have to be better coders, better writers, better communicators, better sellers, right? And you have to do this at every level, right? So as a guiding philosophy, this makes sense, but of course when you actually go ahead and do it, you would be making compromises. But I think what has worked for us is to actually be aware that when we are making those compromises for the purpose of speed, and make corrections whenever you need to, right? But I think the North Star has been always for us to be able to hire people who completely outsmart me and Nitesh in some aspect of what they do, right? So I think we have a great team here for heading our product, our sales, our marketing, our HR, and our engineering, and at every step we basically try to get people who are really stellar at what they do, right? And that is something that I've seen a lot of founders struggle with. They cannot delegate, they cannot let go of something that they are doing, right? But then once you realize that you are actually getting people who are better than you at what they do, this entire thing of handing over responsibilities and roles becomes so much easier, right? The second thing has been to always try to hire through our network, right? And for most of the leadership hiring now, and for almost all of the early hiring that we did was more through Facebook than through LinkedIn, because it was done through friends, right? And reaching out to friends and asking for the right people, or hiring your friends, right? We have done it multiple times, and that really works really well, right? So yeah, so the key learning for me in hiring at least key members of your team has been to not go to recruiters or headhunters, but to look if you have people in your network, probably 2 degrees of separation away, who you can woo into getting into your company, right? And that's usually hard, because you have to literally woo them into your company if they're good, right? But if you do it right, it can be extremely rewarding, because number one, you have a personal equation with them, right? You know how they are, how they work, and how they're going to gel with you. Number two, you're really confident about their skills, right? So if you get someone through a headhunter, you spend your first month assessing that person and trying to understand whether they're going to do a good job. You hire a friend or a friend of a friend, you're so sure about how they're going to do, that the entire dynamic changes. We are a SaaS company, of course, and I get asked by a lot of Indian SaaS founders as to exactly when do I take my company global, to what state of maturity do I need to build my company in India and then take it global, to US customers or customers in the UK, right? And I don't really understand that question, because the globe does not care where you're sitting, right? As long as you have a good looking website that is up to the quality standard that people in the US expect, till the point where you have a great product that does what you say it does, you have good design, you have good functionality, you have speedy UX, you might be sitting anywhere in the world and service customers anywhere in the world, right? So unless you are selling to really Fortune 500 companies which are very, very big and have convoluted purchase processes and decision making processes, as long as you are selling to small and medium sized businesses, or the mid market as we call it, you might be sitting in India and start selling to customers anywhere on the first day, right? So there are a few key things that you have to take care of, right? Your product and your design has to inspire confidence. So the key thing here that I have learned is that the design language and what you say on your website is the number one thing to build trust. So if you can make a website, you can have copy that is really high quality, that talks to people in with the standard that is prevalent right now and that they see in the top companies in the world, you would be almost taken at face value, which is very interesting, and people will trust you, right? And doing that is not easy. Being an Indian company, we are usually not exposed to that high quality and that high standard, but I think that's a huge opportunity, right? Because it's not a huge investment. If you can do it, if you can build a great website, you can have great copy, you talk about your website and your product in good language, clear language, you can reach to anyone sitting anywhere, right? And the second aspect of it is how you build your product, right? So it's very important to build your product so that it can be sold in an unassisted manner. So someone should be able to come to your website, read about what it does, sign up in probably 15 seconds, go through the journey of setting it up, and get to some kind of a fruitful experience within the first couple of minutes, right? And if you can do that, right, if you build it really nicely, if your UX is good, your product does what it says it does and does it nicely, where you are sitting is not something that should limit you in any way, right? You can be selling to anyone in the world right from day one, right? So at Hiver, we are 62 people strong right now. Everyone sits out of our Bangalore office, which is right here, and we have more than 1,300 customers globally. More than 70% of our customers are in the US, and the rest are across the world, right? We have customers in Cyprus, in Estonia, in Indonesia, in Maldives, virtually every country in the world, right? And yeah, so and every customer that we have has been acquired by our marketing team sitting here. Everyone has been sold to by our sales team sitting here, and everything that we have sold has been built right here, which I think is very interesting and inspiring for us, right? And we are completely Bangalore based, and we are selling to the entire world, right? We process more than 1 million emails every day, right? And yeah, so we have doubled our revenues in the last 8 months or so, and we are looking to really grow pretty fast over the next 4 or 5 years, right? So I think we have a huge opportunity. Every knowledge worker in the world uses email, right? So we want to be seen as this email efficiency company, which is thought of right after you think of email, right? So you think of email and you think of us, that how now I got email, now I get Hiver and make email 10 times better, right? So that I think is the broad vision for the company. How do we make email so much better than what it is right now as a collaboration platform, right? This was my journey. I hope you liked hearing about it, and I hope this inspires you to build something of your own. If you have questions for me, please write in the comment section and I'll definitely reply to them. If you think this video can be useful to your friends, please share it with them, and I hope to catch up with you sometime. Thank you.